Hi guys, how's it going? So back with another Premiere tutorial. Last time I pre-recorded and did voiceover over it. This time I'm recording as I edit my voiceover, as you can hear me now. I'm recording this at the same time as editing. Just felt it would be a better way around it. We'll find out. To begin, where we left off before, we'd got all the footage that had been encoded in Cineform into Premiere. Into the designated folder and in the correct folder in here, which is all here. Obviously, being Cineform, which isn't a file format, which things like Media Player, VLC Media Player, which I use, Windows Media Player, or whatever they call it. Put time on Mac like Finder and File Explorer, you can actually thumbnails for it because of the nature of the codec, but the easiest way to tell if it's the right footage is if you've done like I did in the last episode and you've got the backup to tell what's what. Before you go into there, you can either just look at the thumbnails from the from the H.264 file. So yep, that's just midnight. Look at that. So here we are in Premiere. Go over a few things first. We've got bins over here, which we kind of saw a bit last time. These are like there's a folder system within Premiere, so you got sequences, like I've got all this set up, GFX stuff, which doesn't have anything, that's where I put like titles and little thirds and stuff, VFX, so for example the intro, etc. all goes in here, got it all labelled up to go in. I've got sync audio, which I didn't show last time, but that's just audio from my audio recorder, which I will, I brought in the same way that I dragged and dropped the video files from last time. I just dragged and dropped these in. And these I'll be using to sync audio and using the microphone you can see there, as opposed to using just the built-in the microphones on top of the camera, because I was obviously recording the review of the Rodling system. That's this video that we're working on. Won't be using it for the whole project of these tutorials, but using it for at least some. And for the intros and stuff, like normally I am wearing that, so I've got like 2 audio files and I sync them, which I'll be looking over in this episode as well after I've got the initial edit laid down, which is what I'm going to now. So as you can see, you've got the video files all here. Because of Cineform, I can just scrub and see quite easily if I just bring this up and check the key command. I'm not sure it is on Mac anymore, but and in the latest version until I change it back to what I was used to having it on Windows, now it is the singular floating quotation mark thing. I can't remember the name for it specifically, the floating quotation mark that's just single one, not like the 2 quotation marks, it's just like a singular dot underneath the @ symbol on UK layout keyboards. Over by the shift key on the right hand side of the keyboard. I think it's in roughly the same place on a Mac, so it's that keyboard there, but I've got it programmed to a different one. So you can, as I say, bring it up like this, you can just scrub through, and what I do is you just double click on this first clip, and then I can hit space or use JKL keys, or as I've got them set up, ASD keys, to start playing through. And you give it a second. What I want to do here is clap. That is my sync, because that will show peak in the audio on both the audio I'm getting from the video and on my sync up here, which makes it easy to sync. So what I'll do is just roll it back to just before the clap and hit I to set an input there, or you can also use the buttons here. So that's got me to sync, and then we're just going to scrub through, because there's no point, don't need to watch all of this through, because we're just getting the clip until we find the end. Give it a few seconds, then hit O. That's at the in and out points. In and out points are basically just the start and end of the bit of the clip that you're going to be using. Now I'm just going to grab this whole thing here and drag that down into the sequence which I've got set up here. You could also drag just video or just audio, depending on what you're doing. As you say, I've got all this in here now, and you can see we've got sync. I'm going to go through and do this with each clip. I did a little test edit of this, that's why I've already got in and out points, which you saw, like if we just go to this, I've got my sync, then bring it into, since there's already something here, you can say, what I'm going to do is drag this in, I'm going to hold down control, and you can see the arrows in that line will pull, that just will ripple edit it in and will leave a gap. I'm just going to also move that up on the timeline to there, and then just lock in this track, and then I can't touch this in effect. That's just my little outro graphic that I've got set up there. Just out the way of it now so I don't affect it, and just means that I can just unlock that, and when we get to the end just drag it and drop it on the end. I could also do that, or if I want to move it around, if you want to move something around the timeline, hold Alt and just use the up and down arrow keys, and you can go up on the tracks or layers. If you ever used Photoshop or layer based editing software like Photoshop, you understand what layers are. These tracks are essentially like layers. So that's what that happened. So say if that was the playhead there, and this is the playhead for anybody that doesn't know. This is just, it shows the point in the video where you're at. So we'll just drag that where we are now. Okay, playhead over there, and we can see that since it's over the top of this video, then we see that and not what's underneath, and we played. But still hear the audio from that, obviously. So yeah, just move that over there, unlock that track. So then I'll just go through each of these. We've got claps on all of these. Every time like I'm trying to want to make it fit, I'm using the left slash, like the reverse slash backslash key next to my left shift, just to make everything fit to the spacing. Just dragging all these are just the small clips for the audio comparisons that I do in this review. As we go through, we see we've got all those in there. Now I'm just going to go into that, down to the end there, and there we go. Okay, so now we've got this initial kind of edit layered in, and we can see we've got video tracks which are normally this colour. I've got my number keys, because I've got a keyboard that's got both programmable keys over on the left side of the keyboard and the left side of escape, which I can set to do certain things, like I've got it set to quickly bring up a File Explorer window, or to move the playhead around the timeline, or to save, or to render, which is not ideal on recording. But on the other side, obviously, you've got like number keys for keyboards. If you're on certain laptops, 15-inch laptops, a lot of them have the number pad. My keyboard does. Some won't, but I've got those set up to be different colours, and different things will show up different colours in Premiere. You see how I can just sort them to different things. Back to the default. If you go into your settings, which are just over in Edit as well, I just use the key command to find it, and go to Edit and Label, and you can see you can set them up, and if we go into, that was just a key shortcut, we go in General, Label Code, we can see these different things, and we go on Label Default, you can see what they do. So things in your bin come up there. The bins are mangoes, so bins are a certain colour, so I went over, go over here and just click this view, go all the way back. These bins show up like that, and so it shows up with the nice blue. If we go back into, I've got a little default. Sequences come up as forest. We have a different sequence in there, which I will show in a later episode. Video shows up like that, audio shows up like that, depending on what you're doing. Movies, audio and video show up like this Iris Blue, it's called. Stills come out of Lavender and Adobe Dynamic Link. So, for example, Premiere Photoshop document or an After Effects file would show up in that colour, which is why my Photoshop document here shows up like that. And this means that this is called Dynamic Link. I will get onto this further later on, but it means that if I just quickly go Edit Original, we will open up Photoshop reasonably quickly. Now I've got this nice quick editing PC. We load up this, and if I were to say make a change to this Photoshop document, for example, if I just hit that and hop back over here and give it a few seconds, okay, need to save it first. Save. that disappears because it is dynamically linked, so that what happens to that document appears in here, which makes life so much easier. Dynamic link is brilliant. I will get onto that because we can go more in depth with that at a later date when looking at After Effects. So as I say, I'd like to have this also thumbnails as opposed to this. Sometimes use this depending on what I'm doing. Like up here I might actually do that because it's easier when you've got certain files that are just like that when I want to see what the footage is. I usually do that. So here, see we're in the sequence of the timeline. This is the timeline and it's a sequence. You can use both names depending on the editing software, what the software itself calls it. Let's say we've got the sequence. So now that we've set the in and out points, and just zoom in, you see I've got that clap, which if we zoom right in, comes up as this clap, and this peak in the audio track, which will make syncing it much easier. So for a start, let's actually get things synced. So I've actually first some of these clips, and these are just the test ones. Conclusion, part 1 and 2, because my battery died during filming. That's something just wasn't prepared for, but that's happened, and a bit of audio that I'm not actually ending up using because apparently I didn't hit record on the camera. It doesn't particularly matter. That is just another little quick example. We just got to grab this intro one, double click it. You can see in the audio here we have a peak where I go clap, hi guys, and then start speaking. Zoom out of that, just gonna grab audio, drag it down under here, bring this along, nice, close it in. I'm using F and G because I've set my zoom in to F and G. By default they are plus and minus, but because of how I just have my keyboard up for editing, the set to F and G on mine. So I just can drag that. There is multiple ways of doing this. I prefer the manual way, which is to drag it myself. As you can see, it's very rare you'll get it perfectly lined up. It doesn't particularly matter which side you end up having the peak on, because just as whichever one's generally closer, so the audio's as close to in sync as possible is best. If you can't get them exactly in line, then get them as close as you possibly can. You can also, if with this track selected, I hit M to add a marker there, but I don't think it'll work with this. It depends on the time code of the thing. So the time code of this is obviously slightly different to the time code of this because I pressed start and record at different times. So, sorry about that, just notifications I forgot to turn off. So because they're recording different times, the actual point in time where the clap happened on the track is different, hence why they don't line up. So it's usually best if you can start both recordings at the same time, and if not, then as you say, you can get them pretty damn close like I did there. So if I mute this track from this clip, not the specific this clip, but this entire audio track, and we just watch up there, I just zoom back a bit.
Hi guys, how's it going? As you can see by the title below, this video is about this bad boy right here, which you can kind of see on me at the moment, not quite. This is the Rode Link wireless system, obviously from Rode.
See that it's going to be problematic because, not problematic, that's not completely the wrong word, it's in sync, you can tell because you can't really distinguish.
Hi guys, how's it going? As you can see by the title below,
that it's out of sync, so we got it as close as we need to get, which means I can just hit Alt when clicking that to select it individually, because these are, click that because they're linked. You can go in and unlink them if you really wanted to, but best to keep audio and stuff linked. And then I'm just going to, as I said, Alt click there, go Shift E is what I've got it set to. I'm not sure it is by default. If we go into the key commands and click search enable, I set it to Shift E, so it will enable or disable a clip. I usually enable or disable instead of just deleting, because you never know if you have any need for that audio again on that track. It's always best to be as non-destructive in your editing as you can be, which means you're not removing stuff from the timeline. And if you don't specifically need it, then just having that there, it might give you guidelines for how much you got to use. So we're just going to disable that, which means we won't actually hear that to prove that. As you can see, with that disabled, that muted, no audio. Put that back on.
This video is.
We have audio. So now we've got that track linked up. We are going to zoom back out and zoom back in at the end.
In a moment.
Right, we found the end there. We're just going to take it to the end, just pull that back in for now, because I want to go ahead and group those for now, not link but group, because now I'm going to zoom here, and just after the clip there I'm going to hit Q, which is going to do a ripple edit to player head, which means it's going to shunt everything up, ripple it up to the player head, which is obviously this, so that we lose that thing, so we don't have the clip at the start, so we just go from that.
Hi guys.
Probably get a little bit more off it there and just hit Q again.
Hi guys, how's it going? As you can see by the title below.
And then we got an intro. And then we're just going to go over to the very end of the clip.
Moment.
Give it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. At the end I'm going to hit W, and that does the same but at the back.
In a moment.
I like leaving like a few frames of noise, like da-da. Having none of it, just it always feels natural to me. Then it doesn't feel right with me. See, I messed up a bit there. It's fine. I did a little dance as well. 2.
Right. Hi guys, how's it going? Oh crap.
You can see that's the same clip, so I'm just going to drag this audio down into the audio tracks at the bottom here. Zoom in at the start, take off a big chunk. See, this one seems to be much more in line. So we just.
Hi guys, how's it going? Oh.
So yeah, that's pretty damn close, and then.
Hi guys, how's it going? Oh crap. Yep. It's a dance. Right. The audio.
See, we got the sync.
Yep. Right.
So we don't need to worry about that, and since we got that, we can just go Q. Just realised don't actually need to group them. Just sometimes it'll be possibly a little bit easier if you're moving stuff around. I'm going to group those for now.
The Rodding wireless.
So we're just going
in a moment. The Rodding wireless system.
So this is a cut. It's just a cut in the video. So
the Rodding wireless system
comes works like that. You can also add a cut by hitting E when it's selected. I've got it set to E. There is another. I can never remember things. Or C to get the blade tool, or your tool you can see down here, just hover over and it tells you what the button is for it. Whereas tool is C, and you can just add cuts wherever you like. Cuts obviously are just like a cut in the video track and audio track, or one or the other, depending on how you do it.
Throughout the chain wherever you want.
We've got another part at the end. I'm going to stop somewhere around there. So I'm just going to W. We've got that bit there we just didn't need, so just hit delete to get rid of that. We'll do that. And we see we've got a clap. Honestly, trust me, clapping, that's why they use clapboards. When we use clapboards while making films, because my god does it make syncing so much easier, because it's generally more even clap than what we can achieve with our hands as well. How close is that?
The road.
Yep. Pretty spot on, so I'm just gonna scroll along.
The road link wireless.
So we're starting around here. Hit Q, rolls that up.
The road link wireless system does produce very excellent audio quality across a large range of.
Go to the end. Oh, wrong one. So for that, for jumping around between those, you can use the up and down arrow keys. I've got them set to some of the G keys, the programmable keys on my keyboard, so that it will jump between each cut. So there we go, we've got that there. Let's bring that in at the end.
To use those.
I'll just put that to half because while I'm recording,
to use those. Better to use those. When it comes.
See, on this clip, I completely forgot that I needed to sing because I just got in the habit. So I thought I was synced. Thankfully, you can still manage it. Just takes a little bit more effort. You just got to drag and slide until, because we know that's going to be the same around there. So if I just mute that a second.
When it comes to operation, the roll.
See, that's the same. You can roughly guess if you can figure out the peaks. Definitely see why it's worth doing an audio clap or using a clapboard or.
When it comes to operation, the rolling system is very, very easy to use. You've got the transmitter and receiver.
Well, of course, we're going to get it anywhere. I'm going to hop to the end here. Just pull that in. For doing that, as you can see, you can just drag it around and it will just shorten the track. Or using the ripple, like I mentioned earlier, where everything else before or after it moves, you hold down Control, or I think Command and Mark, and everything shuffles up with it. Which is, doing that there is a very good example. You see all these clips move up, whereas if I don't hold down Control, everything just stays where it is and it just shortens a clip.
Addition, I shall see more.
I just brought that there. I'm going to hit W, and there we go, we've now got those. And my god, is that quiet, and that is why we use decent microphones, especially for production audio. So I am cheating mildly here, purely because it needs to actually be audible, so I've hit L, which is what I've got set to bring up the audio menu. However, I think by default it is G. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to gain by 20 decibels. Now you see we've actually got some audio peaks in there, like more visible.
This is the built-in camera microphone on the
and it's quiet, but it's audible at the very least. I had to do that, and I will pop a marker there to know that I need to add title disclaimer for audio, and then that's just a marker. I'm hitting M for markers, and that just shows up there, so I know that I'll need to add that edit later. See, this one I didn't have the audio quite right, so I'm going to boost this as well by, I don't know, 15 decibels.
This is a shotgun step.
That's fine. So if you have a clip selected, you saw there, and you hit M, then it shows up on the clip, whereas if you don't have a clip selected, it just shows up on the timeline. I'm just going to hit M again, will bring me into the dialog box, and then I'll just type title disclaimer for audio.
Rolling system running down.
So this is going to be yes.
Here's what you've been hearing from most of the directly into the camera.
Right, okay. I thought that lined up there. It doesn't. This one, I'm going to boost by 10 decibels.
This probably won't sound.
No, maybe not. Don't want it up. -5, just a teeny bit, just so.
Too dissimilar to the audio recorder.
So the rough max peak across them both is roughly the same, is what I'm looking at there. You can, when in that menu, set max peaks and all peaks and stuff, but I just find it easy to eye up sometimes when it comes to specific decibels, and then that's running the rolling system straight into the camera, as I say in that clip. And this one is going to be this audio. This is running into the audio recorder again. Okay, so look at it. Turns out, because I'd forgotten to sing, then I remember the end, and it ended up being all the way back here. So I'm just going to move this sing. It's there. To within a frame, it's completely unnoticeable to the eye, so it's fairly likely
in post
that there'll be problems there.
Here's
around here, that's such an attractive face. I'll just hit Q.
Here's what you've been hearing.
And that's all shuffled up. We've got the audio in there. Then conclusion part 1.
Conclude then.
Which I did also completely forget to sync by the look of it. Shuffle that, as you can see that. Just me.
To conclude then, as you can see, to conclude,
so this is why
to conclude,
proper audio sync does significantly help. Put that as well when I hit Q. Just get rid of that.
To conclude then, as you can see, the it does hold its.
I'm just gonna remove that. This is where the battery ran out, so around here somewhere we're just gonna pull it back.
There we go. The road.
What we can do is just pull it back to there.
There we go.
And grab conclusion part 2. Drag it in.
After that,
You can see we've got peaks that are similar. Let's just zoom in. Fine tune, definitely better that side. About there, thank you.
after battery issues, the rolling definitely. There we go. The rolling definitely gets 10 out of 10.
And there's that.
Adios.
Couple frames, hit W. Yeah, hit W, brings that up. Delete, get rid of that. And there we go, audio's all synced, we got that. And as you can see here, I'm just going to show you how to do this through Adobe software. If you just right click and synchronize once you've selected them all and you've got these options, and just click audio, make sure it's on the channel for your scratch audio, and then that will just move across and line up. And as you can see, it's synced up quite nicely. And because of that, I'm just going to use the scroll wheel in here just to shorten that one slightly, because this is the main audio. There's only a few tracks that we're actually using there, which I'm actually just going to go hold Alt, drag to select. Should probably zoom in a bit more actually. And just click there, we don't want. So just drag across those. Hit Alt, and the down arrow key to move them into there. And I'm just going to hit green on line number 5. I've got it set to make it the same colour. Zoom back out. I can just completely go down until that's tiny like that, so it's out of the way. I may as well just get rid of that audio there because and hey presto, we've got all audio. Some of it's synced, some of it's not. We'll do these clips here and these 3, which I'll probably just make a different colour for now, just so it's obvious which ones aren't. In fact, I'll just put them back to their original blue because that'll just make it easier to know. So yeah, that's audio syncing. That's laying out my original edit, my main base edit, things I'd cut where they need to be after the audio sync. So as you can see, we just play.
Hi guys, how's it going? As you can see by the title below, this video is about this bad boy right here, which you can kind of see on me at the moment, not quite. This is the Rode Link wireless system. Got the Rode NT-USB desk microphone that I will be recording directly. I've got 3 with me. I've got my Rode Link, obviously. I've got the Rode Video Mic Go, which is on top of the camera, and I've got the Rode NT Audition, as you'll see in a moment.
Okay, so as you can see, I'm just going to do a little bit of fine thing just at the end of this video just to close up. So obviously, since I'm not using that NT-USB clip, since for some reason I don't have that footage, I'm just going to go
USB. Obviously, I've got the Rode Video Mic Go, which is on top of the camera, and I've got the Rode NT-USB.
I just hit
camera.
E there.
And I've got the Rode NT USB microphone value.
So when you're doing like JKL editing, which I will speak about briefly now and go into more on the next thing where we're focusing in on other aspects, but JKL, if you use the JKL keys, K is stop, L is forward, J is back. More times you press L to go forward, the faster it goes. And same with J for reverse, and then you're right next to the IO keys so that you can quickly do in and out edit. I just prefer to use the SD keys. I've got them mounted to those, and that just makes it easier for where my hand position is. So I'm just pressing S while I'm pressing D multiple times, or it'll be L if you're using the normal default configuration to speed up. Going through there, then if you hold down K, or S in my case, but K, and then tap L or J, it will go by frame. And I know that about here, I'm just going to put a cut in there. Oh, not a cut in there like that. Select all that.
Camera, as you'll see in a moment.
And then there we go. And then just to make, there are ways which I'll get onto with effects and stuff in the next one to make those cuts a little bit more seamless as we'll go into transitions in the next video. But here we go, that's the initial edit, audio synced and all ready to actually start diving into the edit. Add the B-roll clips which I've got right here, and really start making this edit come to life. Thank you guys for watching, hope you enjoyed.